We're so privileged to be part of the ALLISON Symposium. What we're finding as we meet you in the last few days is we're witnessing incredible inspiration and we're witnessing extraordinary. And I use the word extraordinary with intention. The definition of extraordinary is to go above and beyond what is expected. And so this morning, we're going to talk about what's expected in terms of how women work together. What's expected in terms of how we support one another. And we're also going to talk about, in contrast to what's expected, how each of us have a choice to be extraordinary. Let's just start with what we know about the biology and the sociology. What we know from a meta-analysis of 160 peer-reviewed journals is that women are more cooperative in their leadership style. They are more collaborative and more cooperative. Now again, this is research. This is patterns that we want to pay attention to. We're not generalizing.
So, sociologically, biologically, we have this hardwiring for collaboration and connection. But there's an elephant in the room, and we want to talk about it. We're going to call it the pink elephant, and it's this thing that we all kind of have experienced probably, yet we don't talk openly about it. And it's this: women often impede rather than support one another in the workplace. Do I see any heads nodding here? I'll just repeat this. Women often impede rather than support one another in the workplace. When we looked at the research literature, there were some varied findings here. And what it suggests is that how women treat each other, the environment is really important. When we take away some of that competition, that this cooperation emerges. Can work really well together and actually be more effective. The implication here is that really the environment is important. And when women occupy more leadership positions, they actually see a pathway up. And it becomes that positive sum. We can get to the top together, as opposed to I have to claw my way at the top. These cultural biases exist, yes. And we still have agency, we still have choice to look at this differently. Here you see an image of retired Army Brigadier General Rhonda Cornum, and she was a prisoner of war in 1991 in Iraq. Her message here, I think, is relevant to what we're talking about today, which is that at any given time, the world is always half light and half dark, and it's your choice to concentrate on what's light. The dark that we were talking about, this pink elephant in the room, these cultural biases that we all grew up in that make it difficult for us sometimes, they do exist, and they're challenging. But we can choose to think about it differently, to focus on what's light, to have a different mindset towards women, to know that these biases exist, to know that even we have them, and still to make a different choice in terms of how we think and interact with women.
We want to offer you a bit of a model. It has 3 levels, and what we're suggesting is that extraordinary leadership, going above and beyond what is expected in how we treat one another and how we lead and how we bring another up, can look like 3 things, and we want you to do all of them. All of them are important.
Anybody have an example of sponsorship that came up where it was a woman who sponsored them? A few hands. Anybody willing to share? Yeah? Okay, right here. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Latasha Wright. I'm a captain in the U.S. Air Force. For me, mine is really even before my career. I came into the military at 27. I commissioned. Wanted to do it since I was 13, but I had kids very young, and so that kind of became a hurdle. So when I joined ROTC, we had a staff sergeant. She's married now, Master Sergeant, but she was Staff Sergeant Marvici at the time. And she kind of took me under her wing. I had to do a dependent care waiver, and she vouched for me at AFPC, and they approved for me to be able to join the Air Force because she she saw in me that I had the potential to be a great officer in the Air Force. And because of her, I get to live the dream that I had at 13. And May 29th, she retires. And she is giving me the honor and the privilege to be the presiding officer. She gave me my first salute, and it'll be an honor to give her her last.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. We feel it. We all feel that, right? And tears come up when we care about something so deeply. And she paved that way for you. She made that possible for you. Really beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Her success, please own her success in very deep ways, and it will pay off in very deep ways. So I'll share with you a favorite quote by Maya Angelou, which is that people will often forget what you say, and they will often forget what you do, but people will not forget how you make them feel.